Scritti Politti are a band from the UK centred around Welshman Green Gartside. They started as a left-wing punk band called The Against around 1977, and they were renamed to Scritti Politti after the term Scritti Politici, which is Italian, a term for political writing, in tribute to Italian Marxist writer Antonio Gramsci. In 1979, they started planning an album, but that process was paused when Green collapsed on stage with what turned out to be a panic attack. In his convalescence, he re-evaluated his political and musical stance and decided to make pop instead. Since then, they have had 5 albums released. They have had a reasonably large turnover of members, with Green being the only constant member, and they had a break between 1991 and 1999. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is the second studio album by Scritti Politti, and it's my first time listening to them. But it's the second time I've reviewed an album by Scritti Politti on the channel. So the other one that I have reviewed so far is their previous album to this one. So apparently, for this album happened after the main guy of Scritti Politti, Green Gartside, had basically abandoned his band or dismissed them or something, and then went to New York and met a keyboard player and a drummer, and then made a record. So it was very much kind of centered around him, but these guys inspired him somewhat. And it's co-produced by a guy called Arif Mardin, who's a legend in production circles, particularly in kind of later soul and I think disco as well. Somebody correct me if I'm going off piste here. I describe this as being synth-pop. And where are we? 1985. So it's kind of early in the range of this kind of synth-pop. It's basically samples and sequences, and it's got a really kind of crunchy sound, by which I don't mean overdriven. I mean, it's kind of got lots of spikes. There's a lot of percussion going on inside it, and lots of things that are interleaved, and very much using these samples and samples of things that, some of them are real instruments, and there's all sorts of percussive noises. It's a sound that I actually more associate with people like Janet Jackson for a bit later on. So the kind of feel and sound reminded me of What Have You Done For Me Lately, particularly by Janet Jackson. But also You Drive Me Crazy. Can't remember who that's by. Anyway, not the Shakin' Stevens one. And other people. So it's very keyboardy, it's very drum machiney, and it's got this kind of spiky and beatiness, often seeming like they're kind of put in at random, but not random timing, just kind of the choice of sounds. They kind of come in once and then they come in again at some other point. Lots of stabs and hits and things. And yeah, also reminded of some Prince productions, so it's that kind of thing. On top of this is the voice, and actually the chords and usage are quite soul, and that softens everything somewhat. So the voice is quite odd. It's high and soft, and it almost sounds like it's been sped up a bit, and then it's kind of been softened by using probably reverb, but also maybe compression as well. Some of the songs have some depth. So apparently the kind of underpinning idea of Scritti Politti by Green Gartside, who used to be a kind of anti-establishment punk guy, then decided that you could say something whilst being poppy, and so presumably this was a good thing for him because he got his message across and also got stuff that was popular and therefore made quite a bit of money, I presume. So this kind of stance of him is discussed at length on the Wikipedia page for Scritti Politti. So do I like it? I've always got to come down to this question. I've been quite a bit of context and quite a bit of description, and my desire with these reviews is always to do description, context, and opinion. And the opinion, do I like it? Well, I feel like I want to like it on principle, but I'm finding it hard to like it, I have to say. In the end, it feels quite kind of bubblegummy pop stuff. And 1 or 2 tracks is decent, but the whole album's a bit too much all at once. And also, I don't feel like there's any tracks on here that are really iconic that jump out at you and are really memorable. I even find so the most well-known track on here is Would Be's, and I've heard that many times, and I still don't feel like I know it. So I feel like it doesn't stick very well. So the whole thing I feel is it's kind of lost something in the production in that it's got this new and interesting sound, but it's a bit soulless as a result. Um, so yeah, not a huge fan really. It's okay. I can listen to some of it. I'm not gonna uh, say I'm disgusted with it or anything like that, but I'm just not hugely taken. So that's what I think. I'd love to know what you think. So please do tell me by leaving me a comment. And that's it from me for now.
I know to love you is not to know you. Oh, I got too near to you. Oh, in a court of contempt, I have to tell you.